Near the little village of Unterlengenhut in the Black Forest, there's a wooden hut with a keep-out notice. Inside the hut lives a woman who may be the Grand Duchess Anastasia of Russia, or maybe a nobody. Once again, the problem comes before a court, the District Court of Hamburg, which is trying to decide between the woman who claims she is the daughter of the last of the Tsars and the Romanov relatives who claim the real Anastasia died with him in the massacre of 40 years ago. Officially, she is Anna Anderson, born in Berlin. But Prince Friedrich Ernst of Sachsen-Altenburg is one of those who believe she really is Anastasia, heiress to such of the Romanov fortune as may be left. Turning back the clock, we show you historic newsreel pictures of the ill-fated Tsar and his family, including his 4 daughters, of whom the Grand Duchess Anastasia was the youngest. Who is the mystery woman in the Black Forest? Her Royal Highness, the Grand Duchess Anastasia, or Frau Anna Anderson? Who can say?
The news of the disappearance at sea of Frank Vosper, who has been called one of Britain's greatest character actors. Of many fine performances, perhaps the best known was as Henry VIII.
We're taking you over to Frank Vosper's dressing room at the Duke of York's Theatre, London, where he's going to change from his slim and normal self to the very robust proportions of that distinguished monarch, the late lamented Henry VIII, whose character Mr. Vosper assumes so ably in The Rose Without a Thorn.
I know, sir, that you can be gentle, too.
Yes, and I often need gentle companionship, as I need music or sleep. And I'd give a great deal for a little genuine affection.
Were you very excited when you saw the land?
I wasn't exactly excited because I had expected it momentarily for about an hour.
Only a short time ago, Amelia Earhart checked over every detail of her $80,000 flying laboratory in preparation for her round-the-world flight. This was to have been her greatest achievement, a sky dash of 28,000 miles. With her husband, George Palmer Putnam on right, she discussed the hazardous course which had been plotted for her by Fred Noonan, the navigator who embarked with Miss Earhart upon this great flight, a flight which was to have marked her retirement to aeronautical research. Then to a waiting world came news of disaster as the plane failed to reach tiny Howland Island in mid-Pacific. A British freighter, the Coast Guard, and the Navy sped to the search.
The government's majority is a record, and newspapers have no hesitation in calling it a landslide victory.
The tragic news of the untimely and sudden death of Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt with President Johnson, Mr. Wilson and Prince Charles on a sad mission to the other side of the world, which took them to Melbourne for a memorial service for Mr. Holt.
In the primeval jungles of southwest New Guinea, all the modern resources of the civilized world are employed in the search for the explorer son of New York's Governor Nelson Rockefeller.
I appreciate this opportunity to express my very sincere appreciation and on behalf of Michael's twin sister, full appreciation for what Mr. Johnson.
Michael's Dutch companion, Rene Vossing, related how young Rockefeller insisted on swimming the 3 miles to shore after their catamaran raft capsized in choppy seas. Dr. Vossing was rescued, but Michael disappeared, and the grim search began in this area where headhunters and cannibals once roamed. Men, planes, and ships of 3 nations engaged in the Mercy manhunt. Forbidding Alcatraz prison, from which no man has ever been known to escape, has its name for impregnability at stake. A daring break for freedom by 3 convicts triggers a manhunt through the caves with which the rock is riddled and throughout the entire San Francisco area. The warden says eroding walls and steelwork allowed the 3 convicted bank robbers to make their way out with the aid of teaspoons and infinite patience. After tunneling through a 4-inch concrete wall, they climbed up a pipe shaft to the cell block roof. Then, in a series of incredible climbs and drops, they reached the water's edge. Coast Guard, Army, and police scour the swift waters of San Francisco Bay, through which they would have had to swim or go by raft to shore or nearby Angel Island. Their fiction-like bid for freedom makes history of a grimly fascinating sort.